My name is Regina Cross, and I'm the director of the Spartan Pathways Travel Program. And I'm so happy you're able to join us today for this pre-departure meeting. First, I'd like to go over some housekeeping. It would be good if everyone could remain on mute so that noises and sounds don't pick up during the presentation. So if you have any questions, feel free to add them in the chat, or once the presentation's over, there'll be time for questions and answers, and you can just unmute at that time and ask. So, okay, next I want to introduce our MSU host for the tour. It's Stephanie Slatt, and she is the finance manager here at University Advancement on campus, our office. She's excited about joining you on this trip. And Stephanie, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, hi everyone. It's great to see you. I'm really looking forward to the trip and traveling and seeing out west and getting to know you all.
Great. Thank you. All right, next I'd like to introduce Vanessa Cheatham. She is with Orbridge Incorporated, the tour operator handling this tour for us. And she is the Executive Vice President of Sales at Orbridge. So take it away.
Thank you so
Vanessa.
much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks to Regina for always creating these great opportunities for me to get to chat with you all before you head out on tour. I have just a few slides that I'll show you, and today's plan will be to briefly walk through the itinerary and give you a few packing tips and hints. I will answer questions, and we'll talk about some general items like luggage and inclusions. But again, plenty of time for questions at the end, so don't hesitate to drop them into the chat or just save them for me at the end, and we'll make sure that we get to them. Great. So first, you should have received by now a red welcome box from Orbridge. Terrific. I'm seeing nods. Wonderful. So in that welcome box, you will have gotten some luggage tags, a name tag, and also documents, the final documents for your tour. So those three items, in addition to what else you received, are probably the most important. The luggage tags we would love for you to put on your bags prior to leaving your house. This is how we at Orbridge are going to identify you. One of the ways that we're going to identify you whenever you arrive into the airport. Now, I will say Rapid City is not big, so we're not going to have to look far and wide for you, but it just helps us to make sure that we locate you and get you with your group transfer right away. And also those documents that I mentioned, they have lots of information in them. Maybe it might be a bit overkill, but there's a lot of information that that you can probably gather from those documents. One of those pieces of information is the contact for while you're gone. So it will have a list of the hotels that we're staying at, the properties. And I just suggest leaving that either at your home or with someone that is aware of where you're going to be so that they can reach you in case of an emergency. The other thing I always like to point out, and I know this is probably old news and very obvious, but we are now, the airlines are now, or TSA is now requiring real ID. So if you have your real ID, you'll need it to board your flight to Rapid City and home. And if you don't, then you'll need to bring your passport. So that's that photo there. You want your real ID or your passport. And then finally, I always suggest that if you have travel insurance, making an extra copy of that, leaving one copy at home, and then bringing one copy of any travel insurance documents with you on tour. And we also do have all of your travel insurance information if you've shared it with us as well. So we have that handy as well. Moving right along. These are some of the things that we'll talk about: itinerary, your arrivals and departures, weather, packing essentials, luggage, elevation, and then I'll share some contact information at the end of the slideshow. So this is one of my favorite tours that Orbridge offers. It is a true treat. You are seeing a lot and you're covering a lot of ground in a relatively short period of time. So you're going to be on the go. I will warn you of that. but you're definitely getting to see and do quite a bit. So we begin our program in Rapid City on day one, and whenever you arrive into Rapid City, anyone who has who arrives between about 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. has an included program transfer to our first property. And your guest service team member will have communicated this to you by email. If you haven't gotten their email yet, don't worry, you will. And they'll just be confirming what time your transfer is upon arrival into Rapid City. Whenever you land, like I said, your bags are going to have the tags, so we're going to be looking for them. But you can also look for the Orbridge person in the arrivals hall with a red Orbridge sign. They're going to have a big red Orbridge sign, and they probably will also be wearing some Orbridge gear, maybe a hat or a vest, something like that. But look for that red sign, and they're, again, going to be looking for you. So we will head to the property, and we have our first welcome event that evening together. We get to know each other. You will get to know your fellow traveling companions. There are about 20 others in addition to the almost 20 from Michigan State. There are about 20 others from a variety of other alumni groups, and your group is the largest. You have the largest contingent. And you'll get to know them, and then have some food together. And then the following morning, we depart out for Badlands National Park, which is it feels otherworldly. The formations, the geological formations in the Badlands are absolutely exciting to see. Lots of photography opportunities there. We check into Custer State Park that evening, the night of day 2, and we enjoy the property there, Custer State Game Lodge. It was the summer home of President Calvin Coolidge. So lots of history and interesting things to see and do around there, as well as some beautiful trails to walk. The following morning, day 3, we depart to Hot Springs to visit the Mammoth site, where it's a great paleontological site, which actually has the largest concentration of mammoth remains in the world. Very interesting stop. Then we visit Crazy Horse Memorial. It's still under construction, more than 70 years under construction. And so you'll see crews working and drilling and removing rock. And this monument pays homage to the legendary Lakota leader, Crazy Horse. That afternoon, you'll have some time to visit. Once you have a guided tour of Crazy Horse, you'll have some time to enjoy time on your own. You'll have a lunch at that property, and then we'll return to Custer State Game Lodge. We'll have some optional hikes, and this will occur throughout, but that day in particular, there will be an optional hike. We typically do an easy walker's hike and then a more rigorous hike. You can choose your expedition leaders on tour. They're absolutely outstanding. They're actually 2 of our favorites, most beloved by guests, and folks tend to travel with them all over the world because they love them so much. You'll travel with Kent Taylor, and Kent's been working with us for over a decade, leading many of our parks tours, Antarctica, a whole variety of others. And then Kat Ho. And Kat brings great energy to the tour, and guests really enjoy Kat's presence on tour. But they'll be leading some of these hikes and walks. Again, one of which the afternoon of day 3. On day 4, we depart Custer and we head towards Spearfish Canyon. This is one of my favorite parts of the tour, and Spearfish is absolutely picturesque. It's in the northern Black Hills, and it's just filled with beautiful pines and cliffs, and it's just stunning. So we'll en route to Spearfish is always a highlight whenever we visit Mount Rushmore. We'll have a tour of Mount Rushmore led by Kent and Kat, and then you'll have the opportunity to spend some time exploring on your own, perhaps the visitor center or the sculpture studio. You might take the Presidential Trail if you so choose, and your expedition leaders are going to point you in a variety of directions depending on your interest at Mount Rushmore. We're only at Spearfish for that one night on day 4, and then on day 5 we depart Spearfish for our longest travel day. This day we cover the most distance, and we try to break it up pretty nicely with some stops along the way, some photo stops, and then we also stop for a long lunch at a Western ranch, and it's just a genuine Western ranch. It's called the U Cross Ranch. Lots of opportunities there for some additional walks, maybe some swimming if you wanted. Again, we have lunch there. There's usually a horseshoe pit open, just some time to stretch your legs and explore a bit in the ranch and the animals. And then we arrive into Cody late in the day. That day you'll enjoy dinner on your own. It's one of the few dinners on your own. And again, we're going to point you in the right direction and give you some options for where you might want to explore in Cody. Another optional excursion, it's one of the few we offer. Most of the things are included in the cost of the tour, but this one is a rodeo. A Western rodeo, if you haven't been, a lot of people love to experience this. You will be able to buy tickets on site with Kent and Kat, and they're going to have them for you there. So it's just something to keep in mind. Day 5, if you'd like to do that in Cody, that's your opportunity to head to the rodeo with some of your fellow travelers. On day 6, we spend the morning at the Buffalo Bill Center of the West. And this museum is absolutely beloved by guests. It's probably one of the most common elements on our survey form. Everyone asks for more time there. It is just a fantastic museum. So you'll have a curator-led tour there, and then we'll continue into Yellowstone. So our first afternoon in Yellowstone, we visit the upper and lower falls, and then we check into Old Faithful that evening, which is always a thrill. On day 7, again, full day exploring Yellowstone, including the active caldera, like the fountain paint pots, the mud pots, and Mammoth Hot Springs. Your guides, again, will be taking you on hikes throughout the day. They'll be leading a lot of these discussions and offering lectures throughout on what you're seeing. We'll overnight in Yellowstone on day 7. On day 8, we depart Yellowstone. We spend a little time there in the morning, and then we depart for Grand Teton National Park. We head south to Grand Teton, and the Grand Tetons have great wildlife viewing opportunity there. Most of our departures lately have been seeing buffalo and bighorn sheep, mook, elk, some pronghorn. We even had one that saw some wolves. So lots of wildlife viewing opportunities as you head south into the Tetons. Lunches on your own on day 8 at Jackson Lake Lodge. It's spectacular views. Will definitely be really a fun way to round out your time in the Grand Tetons. And we check into our property in Jackson Hole that evening, the Rustic Inn. And the Rustic Inn is very luxurious property, a wonderful way to end your tour. We gather on that night 8, for a farewell dinner and share our memories and our emails so we can keep in touch. And then day 9, we depart, many of us depart for Jackson Hole Airport for flights home. Some of you have chosen to extend on for the post tour in Jackson, which also includes a docent guided tour of the Museum of Wildlife Art and a float trip down the Snake River. So I can give more details about the extension if you'd like, maybe later on in the tour once we cover some more general details. And these are just some of the things that you'll see: the Black Hills and Custer, obviously the crazy horse on the left and spearfish on the right, and then your time in Yellowstone, and which is always spectacular. So again, as I mentioned, a whole lot included in the cost of this tour. And I always like to point out a few items just to note. Besides a few lunches that you will be doing on your own, and again, we point you in the right direction, all of the gratuities for your Orbridge expedition leaders, your local guides, your porters, your bus driver, your wait staff for any included meals. All those gratuities are included in the cost of the program. So please know that as well. All of your park fees and admission fees getting into all of the national parks has been taken care of. All of your luggage porterage and all of your airport transfers, assuming you're arriving within those windows that we've advised. Again, glad to take questions after this about any inclusions that you are curious about. So packing, I should mention the weather in Yellowstone right now is pretty temperate. We're finding highs in the 70s and lows in the 40s. So that's typically in the evening and early morning. But I do like to point out some notes for packing. Of course, this is an active tour, so you are walking quite a bit on a variety of terrain. Now, in the park, many of the paths are fairly flat, even though they're dirt. They're well taken care of, and you'll be walking on boardwalks and such as well. But there are some areas and some hiking trails that are a bit, a bit more uneven. And so I always say comfortable white hiking or walking shoes. Even if they're sneakers, I would advise a shoe with a thick tread if they're a sneaker, or I don't think you'll be unhappy in your hiking boots as well. A jacket. So on night one, when we are at Custer, our first night at Custer, we have a Jeep safari. It is a lot of fun and lots of opportunities to really explore Custer and see a lot of wildlife. But it gets cold. It is in the evening. And so while we have blankets in the Jeeps, they are open air. And so I always advise people that if you're going to be cold, this is the moment that you're going to be cold. So I would suggest a jacket. Some people might even want to put like a tassel cap in there as well. And I think that you'll be much more comfortable with something like that on your body whenever you head to the Jeep Safari. A raincoat or perhaps a travel umbrella or, a poncho would be useful. Swimsuit, potentially at Ucross Ranch or at one of the properties with pools. Sunglasses, sun hat, sunscreen. Hiking poles, this is certainly you can determine how rigorous or how easy the hikes are that you take. So some people would not be interested in bringing hiking poles, but if you're a hiker and you really enjoy those poles, then I would definitely say collapsible poles would be advisable, and then binoculars. Of course, there's so many opportunities on this tour to see some extraordinary wildlife as well as some absolutely phenomenal sights. So I would recommend binocs as well. Let's see. The other thing I did want to mention before I give you these contact numbers is the altitude. So we do head up to almost 9,000 feet on this tour. It is varying degrees of altitude, but I do always like to mention that. And ultimately, our advice is as we are heading into altitude, that you let our expedition leaders know if you experience any discomfort at all. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. And that's the tip that we tell all of our guests on all of our programs with high altitude. Bring that water bottle and hydrate throughout the tour, and you'll feel a remarkable difference. And then finally, our contact numbers. So we have an Orbridge helpline that we man 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is the phone number that we would like you to call in case of emergency. And whenever we say emergency, the emergencies we're referring to are, for example, if your flights have changed and you're departing for the program, either within a short amount of time or the next day, please let us know that. You can also email us at help@orbridge.com. The email is monitored about every 10 to 15 minutes, so you may not get an instantaneous reply, but please know we're seeing that in about 15 minutes. The phone is answered. You'll reach a live human being no matter when you call. 2 p.m. or 2 a.m., you're going to reach someone that will relay whatever information you're sharing with your tour director. So please just make note of those. They're also in your final documents. So that box that you receive, the red box, this information is in there as well. And again, flight changes, flight delays, new flight numbers, any medical issue. If you were to experience something on tour, you will have been given your tour director's phone number. But again, that would be a situation that you could also use this number as well, since we're monitoring it 24/7. So those are the times that we'd ask that you use that phone number. And I think that covers the bulk of what I wanted to share, but I'm very glad to take questions.
How do we do that?
Okay, feel free to. All right. Go ahead. It looks It says Betty's iPad, so I'm assuming it's Betty and Phil.
Yeah,
Yeah, hi. Did Nessa say we were staying at the Old Faithful Inn in Yellowstone? Because we've been wondering where, hadn't been disclosed to now.
You know, is it not? Yes, let me find your.
At least I didn't see it. I was,
yeah, even in the stuff that came in the red box, I don't think it's had the nights.
You know, I'll double check while we're on this call, but typically it is Mammoth and Old Faithful. So let me just double check while we're on the call. It's always within the park. So
Yeah,
it's terrific that you're within the park because you're not contending with
Right.
traffic and so on. But let me just double check for you on my end right now.
okay.
What other questions do we have?
we actually had like 4 or 5, but you can take
Great.
it with everybody.
Yeah, no, please go ahead. Fire.
Well,
I'm glad to take them.
we were just wondering if there's, what sort of, you mentioned some things in Yellowstone, because that's like a full day. I'm wondering if Grand Prismatic Spring is one of those things, because I've read that's kind of a must see, and
You know,
I haven't heard it mentioned yet or seen it.
I actually haven't. I have not been to Grand Prismatic Spring. Let me find out if there's an opportunity for you, if there's a stop on the itinerary that we could weave in. I
Okay.
might need a little more time to get you that answer, but let
Sure.
me I'm gonna make a note and I will find out. It is, you know, I will say a lot of times, depending on guest interest in things in certain areas of the park, Kent and Kat will deviate a bit from the itinerary to seek certain things out. They
Sure.
are truly, Kent is probably the most seasoned national parks expedition leader that we have. Former ranger. I mean, he is out of this world. So he's going to do everything possible to find the best opportunities for you. But I will definitely reach out to him and mention this and see if there's an opportunity, any overlap, or if you're close by. Okay.
Okay.
I'll get back to you on that one.
All right.
Okay.
This is kind of a two-part but related, but with all the funding cuts to the Park Service these days, are there things you're monitoring? Are there concerns? Have you noticed other potential problems that might come up?
You know, I'll be honest, we were coming into this season back in May concerned, admittedly concerned.
Yeah.
We have not experienced any impact to our itineraries. At this point in time, zero impact, no
Good.
lines. Now we do use, because we work through many properties that are owned by a third party, even the national park lodges, they're well staffed and well maintained.
Oh, okay.
So that's one thing that we think has definitely been an advantage. Because we have not seen the staffing cuts really impact the itinerary.
Especially on that long trip. I remember during COVID, restrooms were shut down because they couldn't keep up with them. And considering we're going to be on a bus for a long time, just want to make sure we're
Yes.
ahead of time.
Yes, absolutely. We sure have. And there is a restroom on the bus, and I know, no one wants to use it. There is one for any emergency that you'd need. We also do have comfort stops. They're pretty frequent. Honestly, they're pretty regular. We have not, though, seen any impact to, and this is probably about our 6th tour this summer.
Oh.
We have not seen any impact to the maintenance in the restrooms. It's been, we were delighted that there's been very little that we've seen at all. So I hope it continues this way for the rest of the summer for sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Of course. Thanks for your questions. Those were great.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Sure.
Okay.
What is the typical dress for evening dinner?
This is a casual program. So you can
Okay.
feel free to, at any point, wear, very casual clothes, casual
Okay.
pants, shorts, etc. Sometimes we do find folks wanting to dress up for the farewell dinner a bit more, maybe a sundress and sweater or something like that, but still very casual.
Good.
Yeah, great question.
Phil, you have another question?
Or was, how about any suggestions as to the amount of cash required? Are there any places that are cash only that we're talking about? Because we've been encountering that some lately, so it's sort of top of mind.
You know, I can't think of any off the top of my head, and I've been on this a number of times that would be cash only. No, even within the parks, I think you're gonna be okay with a credit card, you know, even just having a little bit of cash, I think should be sufficient. But everywhere that we're going for, and we can point you in the direction of places that would certainly take credit cards for lunches and such. So no, I don't think that you'd be in a position where you would need to use cash for meals or anything like that. And again, on site, all tipping for included meals is included in the cost of the tour. So you
Yes.
don't need cash for tips and so on.
Okay, thanks.
And I would assume there's ATMs. So,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, everywhere. You're right, Regina.
okay, any other questions? Okay, well, if you do, feel free to reach out to me and I will make sure that your questions get answered. I'll touch base with Vanessa and then I think what may be good for the questions that she wants to answer, maybe she'll send them to me and I can forward them on to everyone. So
That sounds like a perfect plan. Thank you,
Yeah.
Regina. And I'll get you
Okay.
those answers hopefully within 24 hours.
Okay, and then also too, this is being recorded, so if for some reason you've forgotten something that was said, I'll be sending the link out in the next day or so, so you'll be able to view it again if you need to. Was there one more question?
One
Did
more
I-
question. On the page that we create, you send a link to the page that we can create. Is that one per couple or is that one for each of us?
Well, you can do it one per couple if you like. It's based on an email address. So if I have your email address, you should have received an email invitation to create your own page. But if you only have one, then just I would just create it together is fine too. It's up
Okay.
to you. Yeah,
Okay.
if you want to individually create your own page and I don't have your email address, if you want to send it to me, then I can send you out an invitation.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Yes,
One
Richard?
more question. So do you know if when we get into Rapid City, we're outside of your window, is there Uber?
Yes, there is Uber and there are also taxis. Yes, you should
Okay.
have no problem heading over to the property. I can tell you what I usually have the general cost of an
Yeah,
cab.
I think it's mentioned in the final documents too, so.
Great. Sorry, I
Yeah.
can just tell you it will take about 25 minutes. And you know, I'm also going to put this in here too as well. There is the rapid airport shuttle as well, and I'll just drop that into the chat. But yes, it looks like a cab would be about $50, and here is the number for the rapid shuttle, and I've used them many times before. So just in case you need it, certainly I booked within hours of needing them, and they're extremely responsive. So that's an option. Cabs also absolutely an option, or Uber.
Yes. Any
Okay.
other questions? All right. Okay, well, I thought what would be nice to do is now to go kind of around the room, so to speak. And if you like, you can introduce yourself, say, you know, what you received your degree from Michigan State. If you're not a graduate, just mention your connection to Michigan State or so forth, and just what you're looking forward to on the tour. So I'm going to start with Ken. It says Ken, and I'm sorry, I've forgotten.
Eileen.
Eileen, that's right. Okay, yes, Ken and Eileen.
Yeah, we're both state grads, 1973. I majored in math and Eileen majored in English
Education.
education, yes. Um, we live in Ann Arbor. It's a tough cross to bear. I can't tell you, but somebody had to fill the role of a Spartan in enemy territory, and we stood up to the challenge.
Good for you.
And we're really looking forward to traveling more around our wonderful country. Up till now, we have traveled internationally quite a bit and pretty much seen what we want to see outside of the country. And we're looking forward more to these kinds of trips inside. And this is one that was very attractive to us
wonderful.
to see these, because these are some of the, well, other than Yellowstone, some of the lesser known sites that are, and so this really attracted us to start doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Well-
Eileen, if you had anything else to add, or
Yeah, no, and I haven't been to either of the states. Ken's been to all 50 states, but I need to start adding some to my list.
Good, good, good.
And
Yes,
really
and
looking forward.
Orbridge, yeah, Orbridge offers a Southwest Parks, a National Parks tour as well, which we're offering next year. And they do a great Canadian Rockies trip. Alaska is by small ship with Orbridge, and it's been very popular over the years for us. So
Right.
that's something to keep in mind for the future if you haven't done those already. So,
Yeah, we've seen
all
them.
right.
Yeah.
Is it the Heart Keys?
That's
that how
right.
you
Art
pronounce your name?
keys.
Okay,
Mike
yeah,
and Tony here.
okay.
You want to talk?
We both graduated from MSU in 1971. We lived in married housing our last year, so that was pretty cool. I was in education.
I was a math major, math education.
Oh, we have two maths.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So we've also traveled with a Spartan group on a number of occasions. This is what, our third or fourth trip with Spartans, mostly international as well. And we made the decision this year that it was probably about time to see some of our country. We've our kids have traveled extensively with their kids in this part of the country, and boy, do they have a lot of ideas for what we need to see. And I kind of told them I'm a little limited in where we can go. It's kind of a tour. So we're going to add some days on at the end. We're going to go up to Glacier National Park and maybe up into Canada and come back down. And then she likes to ride trains, so we're going to take a train back.
Cool.
Not my first choice, but we're going to do it.
I got him in bed, a bedroom on the train. So, but that finishes. I liked what you just said about the international travel and in this domestic. This is going to hit my last 4 states, so that I've hit all 50 states and have traveled in them. So that's on my bucket list that I've been pushing him to get me to do. So I appreciated him signing us up for this.
Well, wonderful. Okay. All right. We have Richard or Rick.
Yes, hi, and actually Steph's here on the side.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
She's listening. So gosh, I got a BA in accounting back in 71. We got married and stayed in married student housing that next year. So Steph got a year at Michigan State, and then I got an MBA in finance, and we moved back to Chicago, although we've been, probably 30 plus years in California and the last 5 years in Scottsdale area. So, and this will be the first time with a Michigan State group, but if you're living in Arizona in the summer, even if you weren't so sure about it, it's a good thing to take a chance. And the last time I've been in this part of the country, I think I was not 10, so that'll be interesting.
Good, good, good. All right. We have Phil and Betty.
Yeah. Well, I'm the Spartan. My blood runs green. Graduated 81 mechanical engineering. Phil is a Bearcat from University of Cincinnati, but he's an honorary Spartan. Yeah, this is our second trip with MSU. We went a couple years ago on a riverboat cruise, and it was the best ever. Yeah, in Europe. And so I've been to a couple places that we're going to stop at. Anxious to see it again. It's been a couple decades, and Phil hasn't.
Yeah, I've not seen any of this, what we're gonna see, so.
So
that's
he's
what I'm
happy
looking forward
that
to.
he doesn't have to drive and watch the road. He actually gets to see the what we're looking at. So he's happy about this.
That's what's great about group travel.
Yeah. We're in New Hampshire right now, ending one vacation, and we stopped for ice cream. I saw someone with a Spartan hat, and you know what you have to say, hey, go white. And then you hear go green. So Spartans rule.
Good, good. All right. We've got Diana and Tony.
Yes, I'm a graduate of Michigan State back in '66, School of Criminal Justice. My spouse, Diana, spent some time at Penn State, so it's been interesting when football season comes. We've done a lot of international traveling. This is our first tour seeing the United States, so we're looking forward to it.
Oh, wonderful. Great. Next we have, is it Tom and Lisa?
Go ahead.
So we're both Spartans. I'm business administration pre-law. I technically, when I got my law degree, Michigan State did not have a law school, so it was at DCL, but it's affiliated with Michigan State. And then
I graduated in mechanical engineering, and we both just recently retired, and we did the Orbridge Southwest National Parks tour.
was amazing.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yep.
Good.
Which is what they offered this tour. So we said we latched onto that and really looking forward to it.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. And then Stephanie.
Yes, Stephanie Slate. I am graduate of 2004 with Family Community Services, and I was the last graduating class of the college, so the College of Human Ecology. So that was kind of cool. Now in social science. Worked at Michigan State ever since I graduated, so I've got 20 years in and been loving it, and really looking forward. I have not been out west. It's one of the areas on the United States I have not been to yet, so I'm really looking forward to seeing all of the sites.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you, Stephanie. All right. Well, thank you so much for attending. Also, too, if you haven't signed up for the Bright Crowd page, the online directory, let me know and I can send you another invitation if for some reason you've missed it. And that's another way for you to get to know your fellow travelers prior to departure. Also, too, the page is available for you to add photos throughout the tour. So if you take some great photos, you can go in and add your photos, which we'd love to see. Stephanie will be reminding of you of that as well. So just keep that in mind while you're on the trip. Thank you so much for attending this, and I will send out the recording to you, and I have to convert it into a YouTube, so it takes some time. So hopefully in the next tomorrow or the next day, I'll get that out to you. And again, if you have questions, please let me know. I wish you a wonderful time and go green.
Go
Take
green
care.
indeed.
Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Welcome.
Yeah, and go white.
All right. Thank you, Vanessa, too. I forgot to mention that.
Absolutely glad to. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. Okay. Bye-bye.